Hello dear students and all the listeners. My name is Hardika Raval. Today we will be studying about types of softwares for grade 9. In the previous chapter, we had seen various types of computer hardwares. Now it's time to explore different softwares. Let us know what the software is. The means of communication between the user and the computer in the form of sequence of instructions is called software. Languages are used by the programmers to write the sequence of instructions called programs and execute them. A set of programs, procedures, and documentation grouped together used to perform specific task or type of work is called a software. Softwares can be classified into three types: system software, utilities, and application software, which are furthermore classified into their subcategories. Let's explore all of it. The system software is a set of programs that are used to control the operations of the computer system. These are specialized programs that help you to use the input and output devices, save your data, and maintain the information on your computer. They also help you to execute programs written in other languages. System software is further divided into four categories: the assemblers, compilers, interpreters, and the operating system. An assembler is a software program that converts an assembly language program into machine language program. Assembly language is a low-level computer language that is used to give direct instruction to the computer, while the machine language is what computer understand in terms of binary language. So the task of the assembler is to take assembly language program as an input, convert it to machine language program as an output. A compiler is a software program or set of programs that converts an entire program written in any high-level language into machine language program. A compiler goes through the entire program and checks its syntax. Syntax is the grammar of a language. If it finds any errors, the error is reported to the user along with the line number, so the user can correct and rectify the errors. Otherwise, if the program is error-free, then the complete program will be translated to machine language and stored in a separate file. The original program is called the source program, and the compiled file is called the object file. Once the code is compiled, you can directly execute it any number of times. This is used in C, C++, Java, Pascal, COBOL, etc. An interpreter is a software program that converts a program written in a high-level language into machine language line by line. Each line is converted and executed immediately if it is error-free. Only after execution of one line it will proceed to the next. If any error is found in the program, the interpreting is stopped. The entire program is executed in this manner. In this case, the machine language code is not stored. So with an interpreter, each time the program has to be executed or interpreted to machine code. This automatically makes it slower than the compilers. Basic language is an example of a popular interpreter. Smalltalk is a partial interpreter. Let's discuss about the operating system. It is a system software that acts as an interface between the user and the hardware. It is required to start and shut down the computer. In simple words, an operating system controls the various components of the computer system and also helps in sharing these resources. The operating system occupies the prime position between the hardware and the user as seen in the picture. The user interacts with the system through operating system. In simple words, as we do not know the computer language and the computer doesn't understand our English language or any local language, therefore the operating system acts as a mediator so that it will be easier for us to use the computers. The operating systems are classified into CUI and GUI based on the way they interact with the user. Character User Interface, the CUI. This type of operating system requires the user to interact with it by typing commands. Unix, DOS, etc. requires that you type in the commands. The user will have to memorize all the commands. There are no graphics in this type of system. So to perform any operation, you require a command. Next is the graphical user interface, that is GUI. The look of the operating system is graphic oriented and the user can use a host of devices like the mouse to interact with the system by mere clicking. Windows and Linux are the most popular GUI based operating system in use today. In simple words, there is a lot of graphic content available so that we can see and interact with the computer using these graphics. Let us understand the functioning of an operating system. The first one is program execution or command interpreter. The command interpreter is a part of any operating system. It receives the command from any application or system and interprets it and executes it. Next is processor management. The operating system manages the division of the program so that it runs on more than one processor at a time. It switches between different processes 1,000 times in a second. Next is input-output device management. Allocation and deallocation of all input and output devices are done by the operating system. It controls the working of all the devices or peripherals connected to your computer. Next is file management. The operating system helps you to organize all data in files and folders. It allocates space for files on secondary storage media as and when required. It keeps track of the location of every piece of every file on the disk. Next we have memory management. Memory is a major part of the computer resource and dictates the speed of the operation. The main memory is thus managed by the operating system, ensuring the efficient functioning of your computer system. Then, error trapping and handling. The operating system detects any kind of error that occurs and handles them. It also gives appropriate error messages to the users, citing the probable problem so that the user can intervene if necessary. Information and resource protection. Information is a major resource that has to be protected from unauthorized access or unintentional damage. The operating system provides facility to hide data and prevent unauthorized access by setting the passwords and assigning rights to the users. Now we'll see the types of operating system based on their functionality. An operating system plays a major role between the user and the computer system. Based on the functionality of an operating system, it is classified into the given types. First one is single user operating system. This supports only a single user at a time, that is, single user can operate or use the system resource at a time. Such systems also bound to run a single program at a given point of time. Next is multi-user operating system. This type is also known as the multi-program operating system, as they support multiple programs running at the same time on the computer. They also support the sharing of the computer resources by multiple users at a time. Next is multitasking operating system. All multi-user operating systems support multitasking also. This means that multiple tasks can be performed by the CPU at a time. You can simultaneously type a letter and work on an image, also print the same time. In such cases, the current task runs in the foreground and the others run in the background. Next is real-time operating system. These systems usually used to control complex systems that require a lot of processing like machinery, scientific instruments and industrial systems. A very important part of the real-time operating system is to manage the resources of the computer, so that a particular operation executes in precisely the same amount of time every time it occurs. The last one is distributed operating system. In this system, software and data is distributed around the system, programs and files are stored on different storage devices which are located in different geographical locations and are accessed from different computer terminals. Each system has its own system clock, data structure and memory. They don't share any of these. Coming over to application software. Application software are a set of programs that are put together for specific purpose or task. For example, MS Word is a package that is used for documentation purpose. DTP or desktop publishing packages are used specifically for aiding publishing work. There are two types of application softwares: general purpose application software and customized software. The application software runs on top of the system software. It is not possible to run any application software without the operating system. The general purpose application software. These are softwares created by major companies for general purpose. Each software has a specific use, but anyone can purchase it and make use of it without making any modification to it. There are a variety of such softwares available in the market. Some of them are word processing softwares like MS Word, WordPad, OpenOffice, etc. Spreadsheet softwares which allows you to create worksheets like MS Excel, OpenOffice Calc, etc. Then we have database management softwares that allows to store, manipulate, retrieve amount of data quickly and correctly. For example, MS Access, Oracle, OpenOffice Base, etc. Then we have presentation graphic softwares which allows the user to create visual presentation just like in PowerPoint, OpenOffice, Impress, etc. Next is the multimedia and animation software which allows users to create and view images, audio, video, etc. like Real Player, Media Player, Dreamweaver, Flash, etc. The desktop publishing allows user in all the publishing and printing tasks to create and format various documents like books, invitation cards, visiting cards, etc. For example, CorelDRAW or Adobe PageMaker, etc. The next category is customized or business softwares. This is where a software is created for a particular customer only. The software created for one cannot be used by another without some modifications. For example, a hotel billing system used in one hotel may not be useful in another. Similarly, a software used in a shopping mall may not be useful in another retail shop as the process may not be the same. Some more examples are like the payroll system, financial accounting system, billing system, the reservation system, or the school management or school inventory control system. Let's understand utility software. By definition, a utility is a small program that provides additional capabilities to the operating system. Utility helps you to manage and tune the computer hardware, operating system, and application software. So they are also called the service routines. Nowadays, many of the utility programs come as a part of the operating system software itself. The best example for this is an antivirus software and the disk cleaner also. Next is mobile application. We all are using mobile applications at a very large scale. A mobile application, most commonly referred as an app, it is a type of application software designed to run on a mobile device such as a tablet or a smartphone. There are thousands of apps designed to run on smartphones and tablets. Some apps can be downloaded for free, while others must be purchased from an app store. Apps are developed to work on different operating systems used by devices. An Android app is developed to work on phones and tablets which run on Android operating system, whereas an iOS app is developed to work on phones and tablets which run on iOS. You can download apps from the Google Play Store on Android phone and App Store on the iPhone. Let us understand the different types of mobile apps. First is the native apps. These apps are developed for use on a particular platform or device. The majority of apps on your mobile device are native apps. Apps built on systems like iOS, Android and Windows cannot be used on a platform other than their own. In other words, you won't be able to use an Android app on an iPhone or an iPhone app on an Android phone. Just like Apple Music and FaceTime will work for iPhone but it will not work for Android. Next is the web apps. These apps are developed to run within the browser of the device rather than running directly on the CPU. The main advantage of web app is that the same application can run on many devices without having to be recoded. For example, Google Search, LinkedIn or Facebook. Next is the hybrid apps. These apps are partly native apps and partly web apps. Hybrid apps are partly stored on the local server and partly on the remote server. Like native apps, hybrid apps are also available in app stores. For example, Candy Crush is a gaming app. If you play it on a mobile device, it's a native app. But if you play with other players, it works as a web app. Thus, it is a suitable example of the hybrid app. Kernel. This may be a new term for you. Kernel is a central component of operating system. As you know, operating system is an interface between application programs and hardwares. Operating system does not do only this, but it also does a lot more for users, but the part of the OS which manages the communication between the hardware and the application program is kernel. In simple terms, we can say that the kernel is responsible for the communication between hardware and the application program. The kernel manages the features of an operating system. The operating system has two parts. One is kernel space and another is user space. Kernel space is where the kernel runs and provides its services. User space is where everything runs other than the kernel. We can understand kernel by taking an example of car. Engine and carburetor are the internal parts of a car and are responsible for movement of the car. Driving of car is not possible without seat and exterior parts, even if we have its engine. The internal parts of car like the engine and the carburetor are like kernel in OS. The seat and exterior is there to talk to internal parts. The exterior parts like the OS. The same engines can be used to create different cars. Similarly, same kernel can be used to create different OS. Talking about file systems. File system is one who decides how data is to be stored on hardware or the storage unit and how it can be retrieved. If there is no file system in computer, then who else will guide that which information starts from where and ends where? File system divides data into pieces and gives a specific name to each piece to make it isolated and identified. Group of data is called file and organizing and managing these groups is called file system. Collection of file is called a folder. File system manages content of file and metadata. That means data about data. A file is capable of storing large amount of data cheaply, reliably and persistently. Operating system designers have found ways to implement files that make the common file-like style of access very efficient. Let us understand the naming process of file system. Every file system provides some way to give a name to each file. Different operating systems put different restrictions on name. Example, size. Some system put severe restriction on the length of the name. The DOS restricts name to 11 characters, while every version of Unix restricts file name to 14 characters. Next is the case, that means the uppercase or the lowercase. In Unix, the uppercase and the lowercase file names are treated as completely different and unrelated names. Some systems translate names to one case for storage and others retain the original case. Next is the character set. Different systems put different restriction on what characters can appear in the names. For example, if we write a file name containing certain special characters, it may show an error. Example, using a star or a slash sign while naming your Word document. Next is the format. The files can be divided separately based on what extension they have. For example, if we have Word document file, they might have the extension of .doc or docx. For PPT, it can be .ppt or pptx. This way we can differentiate and know which file extension stands for what file format. Let us understand the file types. Data files may be classified according to the program that created them or is able to interpret them. Example, a file may be a Microsoft Word document or Excel spreadsheet. These possibilities are endless. While all the files are saved on the same location, we have certain access mode to access our file as and when required. First one is sequential. Reading one record after another, no skip of record is allowed in sequential mode. If we have to play the 9th string song, then we will have to listen the first 8 songs compulsorily before reaching to the 9th song. Next is the random approach. Here we can access any file randomly. There is no particular sequence or an order maintained. And the last one is indexed. Each and every record entered is given a key through which the file is identified. In some cases, the key need not to be unique. There can be more than one record with the same key. In this case, programs use a combination of indexed and sequential operations. Get the first record with a key, then get the other records with the same key by doing the sequential reads. We have now reached the end of this chapter. I hope you have understood all the concepts clearly. Kindly note queries if any. Thank you. Good luck.